We're going to talk about the electron transport chain. Now, after you've broken down the food and produced NADH and FADH2, these are electron carriers. We need something to be able to convert these electrons into usable energy for the cell. In the inner membrane of the mitochondria, as always, we have our biphospholipids. And let's do this real fast. And the inner membrane contains proteins that make up the electron transport chain. We don't need to know what those proteins are. Yes, they have names, but even AP biology does not need to know those. Okay, so within here we have some proteins. And at the very end, we're going to have our ATP synthase. So we have our NADH come up here. And what happens is that the electrons, two electrons, are transferred to here. Then we also have FADH2, and the same thing. The electrons are transported, but they're transported beyond the first protein, and that there's a reason for that. Now these electrons are going to be carried from one protein to the next. And what this energy allows them to do, transferring there, it allows us to pump hydrogen ions out of the matrix. And basically what it'll be in between the outer membrane and an inner membrane. Now, what are we going to use them for? They're going to go through the ATP synthase. And as protons go through there, you're going to have ADP plus BI are going to be converted into ATPs. Now, of course, there's something that has to be done with these electrons, and we have all these hydrogen ions coming in here. That is where O2, oxygen plus the electrons plus a hydrogen ion are going to make water. In other words, we need something to accept the electrons at the end of this transport chain. We can't just leave them there. And so that's where we're using oxygen for our cellular respiration to accept the electrons, and that'll be a waste product, water. Just like it was a reactant for photosynthesis, it has to be a product for cellular respiration. Now, how many ATPs do we get? Well, for every NADH, we're going to get 3 ATPs. For every FADH2, we're going to get 2 ATPs. Let's figure out how well we did. For glycolysis, we produced a net of 2 ATPs. But we also got 2 NADHs. So that means we'll get 6 ATPs once it hits the electron transport chain. Then before it goes into the Krebs cycle, we have the pyruvic oxidation. In other words, we get another 2 NADHs right before it goes into the Krebs cycle. So that means another 6 ATPs. Now, for the Krebs cycle, we get 2 ATPs. But we also get 6 NADHs. That's going to give us 18 ATPs. And we also get 2 FADH2s. That's going to give us another 4 ATPs. So all the ATPs that are produced during the electron transport chain are right here, 6, 12, 12. We get 34 ATPs from the ETC. And we have another 4 ATPs previously. So a total of 38. Now let's just look at it using the PowerPoint. Okay, it's the second main part of cellular respiration. Krebs cycle is the first. And this is where NADH and FADH2, which is not showing up here, are used. These high energy electrons enter electron transport chain. Stay around there, they enter there, and they go down there, pumping all these hydrogen ions in there. And those will go through there eventually to make ATP. And as I said, it's used to transport the hydrogen ions or protons across. And finally, we get all our ATP because of ATP synthase will produce it. Oxygen, as I said earlier, will pick up the electrons and the hydrogen ions, which is going to result in water being released as a waste product.